One of the things that really drives me crazy is when I catch people lying. And it seems like it's on the smallest things where if they were telling the truth, it wouldn't even matter. Lying, embellishment, misleading, they've just become a norm in our culture. And I just had the idea of let's us as dads step up and take a role and fight back with brutal honesty and raise a generation of kids that are going to have those same values and integrity. And I realize my personality is a little more forward, I guess you could say. I don't mind telling someone the blatant truth, even if it hurts their feelings. I don't mind telling them they suck at something or they just did something stupid. Because that's what's best for them. Like, they should know that they did something stupid, so that way they can fix it. You shouldn't lie to them and tell them it's good. But anyway, so if we're going to be brutally honest and try and raise a generation of kids, and I'm certainly doing that with mine, to have those same integrity and morals, I guess we got to know why we would even want to do that. And I think number one, we have to build credibility to be a strong influence in our kids' life. And what I mean by that is, if we lie to our kids or we show our kids how to lie, then we're going to lose credibility with them. They're not going to be able to decipher what lessons were lies and which lessons were real. And so if I tell my kid to tell the truth, and then I ask them to lie about their age to go into the park so I can get a better price, I mean, the message we're sending, the lesson I'm teaching is, well, we tell the truth when it's convenient. We lie as long as it's advantageous for us. And those aren't things I want to teach my kid. I want to teach them to always have high integrity and always be honest. And that's kind of what it comes down to, is just be honest. If we lie in one aspect of our lives and our kids see that and they witness it and they hear it and they even participate in it, then what makes the other things we teach them true? We've lost credibility. And that's what I'm talking about. So they're going to start to look at things in the past and is that even meaningful anymore from you? And then future lessons you try and teach them, you don't mean what you say. So why is this new lesson true? So for me, having that credibility on my boys is so 100% important. As a dad, we need to be modeling high integrity for them to witness firsthand with eyes and ears. So it needs to be all aspects of life. Nothing sticks long term like when you see a lesson in action. Does that make sense? What's the old adage? More is caught than taught. If you say it and you don't live it, it's not going to stick. So if you want your kids to be honest when they grow up and be adults, then you need to be an honest adult that they can emulate. And a big portion of this is going to be do it consistently. Another big thing on why it's good to be honest is it's going to expose you. It's going to show the real you, and it's going to show your failures and your shortcomings, and those become learning opportunities for us parents and for us dads. We're, especially with boys, you're almost like a Superman to them, and it's awesome. I love it. But none of us parents are perfect. We do need to be 100% honest and build credibility with our kids so that we are more effective influences in their lives. And so if we mess up, we should go back and admit it in order to save that credibility. It's better to say, hey, listen, Daddy messed up when I did this. I'm sorry. And use it as a teaching moment. Here's what I should have done. I reacted badly. Here's what I should have done. I did this wrong. And now I realize it, and I don't want to set that example for you. So, and I've done that with my kids a lot. Listen, Dad screwed up. Here's what I should have done. And then try and do that again in the future. And that's better than doing something wrong or doing something that's not right and then trying to cover it up and BS your own kid, because that's what you're going to teach them to do. Another great result is going to establish a bond between both of you. Or all, for me, I have 3 of them. So, and I'm always going to reference my boys. So the bond between us 3, even though I'm not perfect, is so strong because They see what I do really well, and they see what I don't do well, and then I tell them I don't do it well, and how I work on it, or how that's not relevant to me. Kids are a lot more perceptive than I think parents give them credit for. And I just remember being, as a kid, picking up on things, from as young as like 8 or 9 years old, and where your parents didn't think you heard that, or didn't think you saw that, or were trying to pull one over your head. And I remember those pretty clearly, and I'm sure a lot of you remember that too, or have had those experiences. And I think it's important for us to realize that our words and actions they're under constant scrutiny, and that these kids are watching and learning from us. And so if we're living an honest, integrity-filled life, that's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to model. Versus if we're trying to put this facade on of being honest and having integrity, and then they're seeing that, oh, it's just a show. We just want to show people that, they think we're honest, but really we're deceptive. And that's not the way. And I think that's kind of what's happened. And that's not what we want to see. So, and this is going to parlay into other aspects of your life too, I think. And I think it's going to have profound effects. I found that, and we're sidetracking, this is supposed to be on the focus as a dad, but this directly and strongly relates to our relationships as, a husband, as a friend, as a customer, as a son, as a, business owner or community leader. Integrity is key here. Being honest with people means not misleading or lying to them, because eventually your BS is going to unravel, and you're going to be left with no friends and no career and a bunch of people who doubt you. I have an 8-year-old who's starting to pick up on things that are in TV shows and magazines, or he hears from his friends, or he hears on the radio, and he asks about sex and things like that. And I either give him a great detour answer, meaning, hey, because he asked me the other day, what's sex? And I told him, oh, like when you go to the doctor and the doctor asks you what sex you are, it's male and female. That's the sex of an animal, the sex of a person. And so I was able to detour that one and not get into a sex discussion at 8 years old. But if he pushed me on it, I'd probably tell him, buddy, you're just not old enough to know that yet. I'll tell you when you're 11. And even that might be a dangerous move, because frankly, we're in 2019. You walk over to Alexa in our house and ask her, and we'll get the answer. So that's something I haven't had to face yet. Man, I want to protect his innocence as long as possible. And I think 8's a little too early to know that. I also know the times we live in, you can get information so easy and so fast. And but there's protections in place for that. He doesn't have his own computer he gets to use in his room alone, or anything. He doesn't have his own phone to use. But it doesn't take much. And if he's truly curious, he can find out. So it's certainly something, I guess, as dad's got to be prepared for. But Santa and the Easter Bunny, these are all okay things, at least in our house. Santa lives in the North Pole. That's a fact. He delivers presents all around the world on Christmas Day. He is a real fictional character. And that fictional character lives in the North Pole with his reindeer. And I don't really get into the semantics of all that crap, because it's just stupid. I mean, they're kids. It's okay to treat them like kids. When it comes down to it, you just got to be age appropriate with our kids and make them. And when it comes to make believe and superheroes and hard life facts, you got to be age appropriate. And some kids are going to get exposed sooner than others. And I would dread the day if my kid got shown porn somehow, at the age of 7 or 6. And I know there's kids out there that has happened to. And then you got to sit down. You got to have a weird conversation with your kid. And that sucks. But that might be the reality of a situation. I hope that never happens. I pray that never happens. But if my kids or some stuck-up parent wants to call me out on that aspect of honesty, I have no problem defending my position. I can tell them to bite my ankle. At a young age, I'm about encouraging my boys imagination and creative influences. And, I'll fight the imaginary ninjas and build forts in our living room. And I'm not going to sit them down and explain to them that, hey, guys, these ninjas aren't real. And that's not a real fort or castle. Those are just blankets and tables and boxes. So revealing too many hard life facts at a very young age, that's going to take some of the joy and innocence out of the childhood. And really, they're just not ready for that. So if you can avoid that, children aren't adults. So we shouldn't treat them as adults. We want to raise them to be good adults, but not treat them as if they already are. And frankly, when we've raised them to be awesome adults, we can treat them like adults. That's my spiel. Thanks for listening to my thoughts on being an honest dad. Please comment below. I am listening to those comments. Feel free to submit stories and thoughts to Townsend at townsendrussell.com. And of course, find us everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, podcast, and of course our website. I'm Townsend Russell with 100% Dad, and we're preaching over here for dads to step up, be real men, and be real leaders of their homes. See you next time.